Hello and welcome back to Substream. This is the rise of humanoid robots. So, well, what are humanoid robots? I guess they are robots designed to mimic human form and movement, and they are gaining massive traction thanks to kind of all sorts of modern massive leaps forward and breakthroughs in technologies, these advancements in like artificial intelligence, sensors, robotics, bipedal movement, and a lot more. And that's what I'm going to be covering, I guess, in this video. I'm going to be talking about some of the companies who are doing big things, companies like ones you've probably heard of, like Boston Dynamics, known for Atlas, and also going to be talking about Tesla and Tesla Bot, which Elon Musk has talked quite a bit about, and alongside some others like Figure AI and Agility Robotics. Yeah, I'm just going to talk through those kind of things. I'm also going to talk about why is robotics needed? Why are these humanoid robots growing in popularity and traction, and why are these companies investing billions to make them a reality? That's what I'm going to talk about. Pretty much, if you want to TLDR that, too long didn't read, it's about a labour shortage, right? They are being designed to actively replace humans, but also fill in a gap where there aren't enough people in some industries and spaces. And this industry is being projected to be valued at 38 billion by 2035, and I think that's totally conservative. It's going to be way more than that, and I'm going to tell you why. So stick around. If you're new here and you're not yet subscribed, I'm hoping that I'll do enough in this video to convince you to subscribe. Now, it's high 30 degrees here, it's just rained, I'm absolutely sweaty as per usual. So enjoy a very lovely, sweaty, humid video from Substream. Let's go. Oh, I just want to say thanks to a couple of recent commenters, because I saw these wonderful comments under the video, and I just want to say thanks. This one said, like, how do we not have 100k subs? I don't know. I honestly don't know. This one said, you know, how did they find us or get recommended this channel by the YouTube algorithm at under 500 subs? I also don't know. But guys, we don't have social media. We're not promoting anywhere. We rely fully on the YouTube algorithm, which means we need your likes, your thumbs, your comments, your subscribes to make the engine work. Yeah, otherwise no one will ever see us. Sad times. Anyway, back to the humanoid robots. Let's go. Now, there's another part of the whole humanoid robot debate that perhaps isn't so obvious, and you might not have considered it, but basically these robots are being developed to perform tasks in industries facing labour shortages. So let's think about that. What does that mean? It means there aren't enough humans to do certain tasks, and so we have to defer to robots. We have to build robots who can do them. What are these industries? Well, hospitality and healthcare and logistics, they're kind of main ones. Now, birth rates are dropping in developed countries. We know that, right? There are aging populations creating these massive workforce gaps, particularly, you know, in these sectors. But we're talking about countries like Japan, South Korea, even the UK. It's becoming quite a big issue now. So, you know, we have to find ways to solve this problem, and they believe that humanoid robots will be able to do it. Now, I think that's an interesting take. What do you think? Now, let's think about it this way. You've got some robots, right? Your company, you've invested in these humanoid robots, and they can do things like lift up patients, they can clean rooms, they can serve food, they can cook food, they can lift things that humans can't lift. They could be stronger, more agile than us. They could even be programmed to be more empathetic than us. You know, if an aging population is the problem, and we're going to have too many old people that we can't take care of, then it could be purpose-built humanoid robots that can care about your grandma and grandpa in ways that you can't, right? And programming can do that. And I mean, that is an extraordinary thing, but who knows what we'll find as proper applications for these humanoid robots. At this point, we don't really fully know what they're capable of because it's still so early. Let me tell you about some examples that have already been built, right? So we've got humanoid robots from a couple of companies. One is Figure AI and the other one is Aptronic. And they are actually purposely building their robots for the healthcare space, right? And that's for helping with like patient mobility, like helping move them around, monitoring their vital signs. They will be able to censor like heart rate, blood sugar, things like that, even providing social interactions for isolated elderly individuals. You can imagine, an old widow, husband's died, she's all alone, no kids, she's been alone for years, and she's feeling it. It's hard, right? A humanoid robot could fill that gap, and I think that's a very interesting way to kind of reduce the strain on human caregivers and potentially in the long run reduce costs in healthcare. Now, if we have a think about hospitality, you've got robots that can come and clean rooms, they can serve food, they can even help handle customer inquiries, check-ins, check-outs, problems. They could clean the pool, they could sweep the lobby, things like that, and basically, again, reduce the demand on human staff and improve efficiency. Now, that might not be useful all year round, but think about peak seasons when there's a real boost in tourism. I think that could be pretty useful, and I think some hotels may see value in a one-time fee for a robot that may last years. Could equate to about one person's full year salary. Who knows? It's not quite clear exactly how much these robots are going to cost yet. Now, there's another robotics company called SoftBank Robotics, and they've got a robot called Pepper, which I think is pretty cool. It's already demonstrated a lot of success when it comes to customer service roles. And there's also UB Tech Robotics, and they've built a robot called Cruiser that's deployed in hospitality roles for greeting guests and assisting with check-in. So, here's some pictures on screen. You can see them. These are less humanoid than others, right? They're not bipedal. You see their kind of legs are connected. They work on a wheel, or I imagine they move around on wheels. So they're not fully humanoid, but they're kind of semi-humanoid is what I'd say. Applications like these do really help, businesses plan for the future. When you can see in the US, we've covered this before, the great resignation of a few years ago, right? When young people just said, you know what, I don't want to work at Starbucks or Burger King or McDonald's, and I don't want to care and wipe old people's bums or work with children. And so there were all these jobs in the US that went unfilled, and it caused massive business problems. And so businesses will have seen that and thought, we need to future-proof our workforce, and humanoid robots probably are the best way to do that. Now, another application that I haven't really talked too much about is logistics. These are massive warehouses, that companies like Amazon have, right? And they will really benefit from having teams of humanoid robots. And I know this is very futuristic to think about, and I don't want to scare you or worry you. Think about iRobot, the movie. They look like literal armies. When you have too many of them in one place, it's pretty threatening. But I think if you have one humanoid robot on its own, it seems pretty innocuous and cute and kind of fun and novel. If you have 20, 30, 50 of them in one place working together as a team, that becomes kind of scary. But I think if as long as the programming's secure and they can work together and do things like logistics and replace human teams, why not? Of course, as always, all of our sources are at the end of this, and I found one article that explained about Intel Capital and how they've put 70 million and basically created this thing called Figure 01, which is a pretty cool logistics humanoid robot, and they've actually just released Figure 02 recently. Check those out, obviously. Picture on screen of Figure 01 or Figure 02. Really cool. I think I could see that one really having legs. Hey! That's a pun for you. Let's move on to the next scene. Now, humanoid robots, engineered to look and act and resemble humans, used to be just science fiction, right? I remember them in the movies of my childhood, and I'm sure you do too. They were kind of scary, but now they're just going to become quickly and seamlessly part of normal life. So get prepared for it. They're going to be fitted with all kinds of sensors, AI technology. They're going to be able to interact with and recognize their environments. They're going to be able to interact with and have relationships with humans. Are they going to have cameras so that they can see what's going on and sensors that stop them from creating accidents? You've already seen how Tesla's self-driving cars and other brands' self-driving cars have been pretty much a huge success. I actually saw a video recently, if I can find it, I'm going to layer it here, where a Tesla car was in a situation where it was either going to crash into a car with 4 or 5 people in it, or crash into a car with 1. It was able to read the whole situation and create an incident for minimal damage when it knew that a incident was unavoidable. So I think those kind of things are going to become part of the humanoid robot life cycle. Now, who is driving that change? Well, I've done my research, guys, and I've put together this incredible table. Let me just shuffle to the side a little bit here. 16 massive companies all building humanoid robots for the future. These are the world's top 16, so have a look at the data here. Got this up on screen. Just enjoy it, have a look through it. You can see the money, you can see the numbers, crunch them for yourself. And yeah. Okay, so these are the 16 companies pushing the boundaries in humanoid robots, bipedal movements, object manipulation, human interaction, and basically the ones that are getting the most investment to grow and change the world. Now, you might be thinking, why now? Why 2025? Has this technology not been around for years? Couldn't we have done this sooner? Or you might be thinking, are we ready for this? Are we actually there yet? Well, yeah, we're here. You've seen over the last couple of years what AI is capable of. It's changing the world. So AI is just one part of it. Let's call that the brain, right? Let's call the sensors and the cameras their kind of movement and, sensors, their senses, I suppose. And think about all of the different things that a humanoid robot needs to do. Why should they not be able to do them? With the advances that are being made in robotics, it's kind of hard to argue. Now, you might also be thinking, well, surely these robots are going to be costing $1 million each. Well, you'd be surprised. I have found some data on robotics cost, but please take these numbers with a pinch of salt because, as I've shown you, there's 16 major companies building humanoid robots, for industrial or for personal use. It varies on a case by case. So these prices are just kind of loose numbers that I've kind of deduced from the information from the companies that do have it available. So when we're talking about manufacturing costs, the costs have dropped significantly. They believe that each unit should cost between $30,000 and $150,000 per unit to make, which, it's still a lot. And then once they've put their margins and delivery and all that, maybe it'll be double. So my prediction would be that you wouldn't be able to get a personal home robot for less than 60,000 USD. That's my prediction. But last year, if I had made this video 12 months ago, the figures were much higher. It was 50,000 to 250,000. So deployment's now more feasible, and we're looking more at the 5-figure range rather than the 6-figure range. And I think that cost reduction, combined with improved capabilities, greater research, knowledge in AI, will be able to drive much greater adoption throughout different industries, from healthcare and hospitality to logistics and way more, and of course for home use. Now, while humanoid robots may be full and beeping and booping with all this potential to change the world, of course there must be some challenges, hurdles and obstacles that they have to overcome to get there. And it's not just about money, it's mostly about technological progress. So what is stopping them from getting in your home and business and local warehouses right now? Well, I've looked into it. What are the biggest challenges? And number one, it's the need for advanced AI to handle unpredictable environments. Do you remember in that last section when we talked about how the Tesla self-driving cars have to react in real time to different situations? Yeah, pretty much like that. A humanoid robot like a human would have thousands of data points to consider each time they make a decision. Like right now, what's stopping me from jumping in the lake, from doing a backflip? Because I definitely can do a backflip. What's stopping me from punching the camera? You know, we make all these decisions, and it's not just not being erratic, but it's also being logical and responsible. And that advanced AI apparently is just not quite ready. Another one is safety concerns. These robots are super heavy. If you've seen them, they weigh like hundreds of kilos. They're made of metal and hydraulic, parts and silicone and all this. They're heavy. If they fall over, they could, squash a child or a pet. They could hurt an old person if they, go wrong, let's say. And you may have seen there was a video of a humanoid robot in China freaking out at the two scientists who were working at it, and if they hadn't have acted quickly, it would have absolutely destroyed them. Pretty shocking stuff, right? Well, that guy was lucky to get out of the way. Now, the other one that you have to think about, I would say, is an ethical thing, right? Now, there's kind of widespread unemployment around the globe, so general people, workers, are not going to be that happy to think that their jobs might be displaced by robots. That is a real fear. That is really something that you should be concerned about. I also have put together a list here of different technological requirements that need improving for humanoid robots to become widespread. The first one is motion, especially bipedal movement. That means walking normally on two legs. The next one is manipulation, which means grasping with appropriate force. That's one of the issues for these humanoid robots, is when they pick something up, they tend to either drop it immediately or crush it. So that's something that humans are good at, robots not so good at. Another one is perception and object detection. I think they will be able to do this at thousands times more efficiently than the human eye, because they'll be able to have sensors with much stronger vision, be able to recognize, analyze, heat seeking, night vision, all these kind of things. Basically, perception is going to be one of their strongest points. Self-balancing, I guess that kind of falls into the bipedal movement, but it's not just not falling over, it's being able to get back up and continue. That's sounded like a motivational quote, but it wasn't. And the other one is route planning. Now, I've talked about this before, but route planning is one of the incredible things that AI is trying to figure out. And we talked about it in the quantum video. If you didn't see that one, here's a link up in the corner about quantum computing. But quantum and AI are both working to solve the route planning problem, because they believe that route planning is not perfect, that Google's done a good job, but there's still more to be done, and that perfect routes will be part of our future. All of these are believed to be rapidly improving. That's down to maturing technologies like 3D cameras, LiDAR, new battery systems, and improvements in AI. Let's move on. Hello again, guys. It was far too hot outside. I had to come in. Let's try and finish this video pretty fast. Now, I want to say that the timeline here that I'm talking about to improve these humanoid robots from my research that I'm sharing with you here is about 5 years. So by 2030, it's likely that robots will perform loads of different kind of physical tasks, professional tasks, replacing human labor, and having accelerated adoption across many different industries, not just the ones I've mentioned: hospitality, healthcare, logistics. They're just three that I think are pretty ripe, and well, it seems like these companies think are pretty ripe too. What are the future implications? Well, if we do the maths, there are some projections, right? From some AI experts. You can find this in the sources at the bottom in the video description. But one source I found was quite interested in this, and they've crunched the numbers. I can just reshare that with you. They believe that by 2050, so 25 years from now, there could be 63 million AI-powered humanoid robots in the US alone. Now, what kind of impact would that have? That would be like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 Americans would be a humanoid robot. That would affect wages. It would push wages down, they believe, by about $3 trillion. I mean, it's all quite far-fetched if you think about it. This is all just kind of guesswork based on some data, some research, but I don't think we have too much to worry about right now. As always, when I share these videos, about quantum computing and dead internet theory and how to become a digital nomad, the last few videos and more, there is an element that I do want you to think about the future, prepare for the future. But you as an individual, how can you prepare for the rise of humanoid robots? I don't really believe you can. I don't believe I really can either. Except from make sure you upskill, continue to learn, and try not to be replaceable by a robot. Now, I know that sounds silly, but if you are a server or a healthcare assistant or a factory or warehouse worker, you could be one of the first, and you may have thought you were the safest from AI taking your jobs. Now it could be humanoid robots that come along and do it. I'm sorry for laughing, but it just seems that none of us are really safe. There's one of the sources down below was from Rethink X, and they have coined this term material, or an era of material superabundance. And this is actually the theory that by introducing humanoid robots and solving a lot of our problems, we would enhance prosperity in such a way that labor problems would just be solved, people would be freed up, housing could be solved, like robots could be building houses, medical services would not have shortages, you wouldn't have like months long wait lines to see doctors because doctors could be, who knows, but humanoid robots. That's kind of the theory here. So who knows what's coming? I think it's quite exciting, and you know, I don't fear losing my job to a robot because, you know, we're young. I'm young. I have to be adaptable. If something happens, just change to something else, and take the rough with the smooth. Anyway, let's move on to the conclusion. Thank you so much for watching. I know there's a lot to think about here and a lot of words and a lot of talking, but I think this is a really interesting topic, and I hope that eventually, maybe months or years from now, I'll come back to this topic and we can reflect on how we've discussed things here. So substreamers, thank you. Let's move on to the conclusion. Hello again. I don't know why, but I love this angle with the camera on top of my fridge. Substreamers, hello, goodbye. This is the end of the video. Let me just wrap up quickly. So humanoid robots are on the rise. There's loads of companies, about 16 major ones, that see humanoid robots as a critical tool for the future, that are building it, that have millions, even billions to invest in it. Even Elon Musk is there. So, you know, that's pretty cool. The reason that they're needed is the birth rate crisis, labor shortages, skills gaps, things like that, especially in developed countries like Japan, Korea, UK, and so on and so forth. Now, there's potential for application in certain industries, which I've covered quite a lot in this video, you should know by now. And I just want to mention Boston Dynamics, Tesla, and Figure AI, which I believe are probably the top 3 companies who are going to kind of do big things in this space. Those are the 3 that I think their robots, from looking at them all, are the most capable of transforming major sectors. Of course, we've gone through the challenges, they remain, but the evidence kind of seems to suggest that humanoid robots will play a pivotal role in the future in sustaining economies and improving quality of life for humans. So you may want to see them as a threat, but the people who are building them, the businesses that are building, actually want to build them to help humanity's continued existence and help us thrive. Because if you know, countries plunge into crisis, robots aren't going to be much use. So it's preventative, I believe. That's proactive rather than reactive, and those are kind of the best inventions a lot of the time. That's it. I have no more to say for now on this topic. I do want to say thank you for watching. If you've got this far in the video, you must have enjoyed it to some extent, even just a bit. And if so, please subscribe. It really helps. And yeah, I'm really grateful for these lovely comments we've been getting recently. Like, why haven't you got 100k followers? I don't know. We're doing it organically. With no ads, no social media, nothing. We're just doing it purely on the algorithm. Let's see if it works. Hopefully this way we build a real tribe of substreamers who show up every week. Who knows? I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.